if you're genuinely interested in flirting, dating, or even establishing a long-term relationship. There's a crucial insight you need to grasp now rather than later. The wrong woman won't merely waste your time. She'll sap your energy, cloud your judgment, and subtly divert you from your path. The most troubling aspect is that many men fail to recognize this until they've already compromised their peace, confidence, or future. As Machiavelli wisely noted, your downfall often comes not from enemies, but from those you allow too close. This discussion isn't about harboring bitterness or blaming women. It's about strategy. In today's world, charm can disguise manipulation, and if you can't identify the signs, you risk giving your best to someone who only takes. Therefore, I'm outlining 6 of the most perilous types of women to steer clear of in flirting, dating, and relationships, not out of fear, but with clarity. The reality is, you will encounter some of these types eventually, and if you don't recognize them early on, it could cost you more than you realize. Stick around until the end, as the 6th type is the most subtle, the most camouflaged, and the one that gradually undermines men without ever raising a red flag. Let's dive in. The attention seeker. This woman isn't interested in you. She craves the validation your attention provides. She flirts just enough to keep you engaged, but vanishes the moment you stop boosting her ego. She posts alluring photos and responds late, never making concrete plans but always wanting you on standby. She doesn't date. She auditions admirers. How to identify her? She relishes compliments but seldom reciprocates. She often forgets to reply unless she's feeling bored or down. Your conversations lack depth, direction, and progress. For instance, if you text her, "Hey, want to grab coffee this weekend?" and she replies 8 hours later with, "Thanks, that's sweet," followed by silence, you know you're dealing with an attention seeker. 2 days later, she posts a selfie with the caption, "Bored. Someone take me out." Machiavelli would argue that attention is currency, and when someone only takes without giving, they're not your partner. They're your master, the competitor. This woman isn't looking for a partner to grow alongside. She seeks someone to outdo. Every conversation becomes a contest. If you share your achievements, she has to one-up you. If you're excited about something, she downplays it. She needs to feel superior. And if you start advancing too quickly, she may attack, sabotage, or leave. How to spot her? She can't celebrate your successes without making them about herself. She delivers subtle jabs disguised as humor and distances herself when you're thriving, only to warm up when you're struggling. For example, if you proudly announce, "I finally got the promotion," and she responds, "Cool. My ex made double that at your age," it feels like your victory has been diminished. In dating, this leads to emotional warfare. In marriage, it breeds resentment, control, and gradual destruction. The emotionally guarded woman. You may find yourself opening up while she shuts down, leaving you feeling at fault. She gives just enough to remain in your life, but never enough to foster genuine intimacy. You often feel like you're pursuing a connection that never fully materializes. She's not overtly loud. Rather, she's emotionally distant, guarded, and sometimes cold. Instead of expressing her needs, she punishes you with silence or disinterest. How to identify her? She avoids emotional discussions. Even when you share your feelings, affection, attention, and warmth seem like rewards you must earn. For instance, if you say, "Sometimes I feel like you're not really into this," and she flatly replies, "Well, I'm here, aren't I?" You may feel drained and confused, convinced you're at fault when, in reality, she's simply not emotionally available. The perfectionist. This woman knows how to say all the right things until things don't go her way. She views relationships as a performance, acting in a way she believes is expected, nice, supportive, perhaps even alluring. However, this is merely surface level. Under pressure, her facade crumbles, revealing passive-aggressive, manipulative, or controlling behavior. She doesn't love you. She loves the concept of a perfect relationship as long as she can dictate the narrative. How to spot her? You may notice significant mood swings, especially when she doesn't get her way. She frequently compares your relationship to others and is obsessed with appearances, both online and in public, while the private connection feels shallow. For example, in public, she may be affectionate and call you her king, but in private, she ignores your messages, mocks your ideas, and criticizes your tone. When you ask, "What changed?" she might respond with a smile, "You're just being sensitive." This type of woman can appear ideal on paper, but being with her feels like navigating a minefield, and that tension can be exhausting. The subtle manipulator. This woman won't control you through direct orders. Instead, she'll employ guilt, silence, and subtle pressure. She never explicitly tells you what to do, yet you find yourself consistently doing what she desires. This type of woman uses suggestion, guilt, and emotional tactics rather than force. She might play the victim, evoke jealousy, or withdraw affection just long enough to make you chase it back. How to identify her? You may feel perplexed after conversations, as if you've agreed to something without intending to. She praises you only when you align with her wishes. You might alter your behavior to avoid her negative reactions, not because you believe it's right. For instance, if you say, "I need tonight to focus on work," and she replies, "Wow, I guess I'm not a priority," you may feel guilty and end up texting instead of working on your goals. Machiavelli would refer to this as soft manipulation. It feels like freedom, but it's a hidden leash. The supportive saboteur. This woman appears to support you while gradually undermining your ambitions. She seems like a dream, kind, supportive, and saying all the right things. But slowly, she diverts you from your path. She'll never outright say, "Don't pursue your goals," but she'll sulk when you focus too much on your ambitions. She won't forbid your aspirations, but she'll subtly make you feel guilty for prioritizing yourself. She desires a version of you that is smaller, softer, and easier to manage. How to spot her? You may feel as though you're betraying her every time you strive for growth. She claims to support you, but her energy shifts when you level up. You might start sacrificing your goals, not because she asked, but to maintain peace. For example, if you express, "I want to start a business," or work more hours, which means "I need to work nights," she might gently respond, "I support you, babe, but I miss when you had more time for me." You don't argue. Instead, you begin working less, and gradually your dreams fade away with a smile. Machiavelli cautioned against soft enemies who use kindness to control. This is that dynamic in romantic form. In conclusion, avoiding women like these isn't about being paranoid or cold. It's about safeguarding your peace before it gets compromised. The reality is that the wrong woman doesn't just break your heart. She alters your identity, distracts you from your goals, and makes you question your self-worth. She can lead you so far off your path that one day you wake up and no longer recognize yourself. That's why exercising caution isn't a sign of weakness. It's a demonstration of wisdom. So take your time. Observe how she communicates and how you feel in her presence. Don't merely ask yourself, do I like her? Instead, consider, do I respect who I become when I'm with her? Because dating isn't solely about finding someone who looks good beside you. It's about building a life with someone who sharpens, strengthens, and brings you peace rather than confusion. Machiavelli didn't warn us about overt enemies. He cautioned us about quiet allies who gradually drain us. When it comes to women or anyone close to you, that's often where the real harm occurs. So remain vigilant, stay grounded, and choose not impulsively, but with clarity. The wrong person can take years from you, while the right one can elevate you in every aspect of life. You don't need to be cold. You simply need to be aware. Choose wisely. If this resonates with you, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a comment, even just a few words. It helps reinforce your understanding and may assist someone else as well. If you found this content valuable, hit the like button and share it with someone who might need it right now. Trust your instincts. We're all striving for greater clarity and resilience within ourselves. Let's cultivate minds that remain unbroken